Now for this video, I will be answering another subscriber or viewer's questions on how to tell people you're no longer a part of religion or Christianity, and I will speak mainly on Christianity since that is what I was a part of. The reason I did not want to put this into one video and conjoin it along with telling people you've left the ICOC is because some people don't realize that leaving the ICOC is way easier to go through than just leaving religion. Leaving religion is a whole, it becomes a whole nother heap of things. It's almost like you're just throwing more on yourself when you then decide to no longer be a part of Christianity. But it really depends on the individual. It depends on how long you've been a part of Christianity. It depends on what you've gone through and how much you really believed, like how much of this was your life, how much of Christianity was involved in your life. And for me, it was pretty much the only thing I believed. So I grew up in Christianity faith. I grew up reading the Bible. I grew up going to Sunday school. My mom and my father were both Christians. My father was a pastor. My mom is still a Christian. My father passed away when I was like 18. So it was really the only thing I ever knew. I based pretty much all of my life on the teachings of Christianity, and I did feel a lot of not disconnect, but I felt a lot of guilt throughout my life, especially in my teen years, whenever I did not live up to the expectations of a true Christian. Leaving religion, no matter what religion it is gonna be very, very difficult. And it's not so much as difficult to leave, but difficult to get through the process that you go through when you leave. Which, like I said in my previous video, I do want to make a series of videos on the stages and steps that you go through, and it is a lot. So I want to really just break those down. But first, with this video, we'll just speak about how do you tell people that you are no longer a Christian. Sometimes you may not be ready to tell people. Usually you may not be ready to tell people, especially if religion is something that you've been a part of that for your whole life, and especially if majority of the people in your life are a part of religion as well. So for me, it took me, I would say, well, first of all, I have left Christianity. It's been about 3 years now since I've left Christianity. And it took me about a year and a half before I was able to really come out and openly say I was no longer Christian. Probably even 2 years, to be honest, because I specifically remember the day that I was able to open up to myself and say, Tina, you don't even believe in this stuff anymore. You just don't. You don't just not use the label Christian. You also don't believe in it. You don't believe. You're confused as to what you do believe in, but one thing you're not confused of is that you are no longer a Christian. So like I always say, I really do speak based on my own experiences, and you can take and leave whatever works, and whatever doesn't work, it's fine. But I can only speak on my personal experiences. Everything I say is solely my experience and my opinion, and it's not based on fact, it's not based on evidence, not based on statistics. A lot of the things I say may help you if you've left religion, because one thing that we all do share together as like a common ground is that you go through a lot of pain, you go through a lot of rejection, you go through a lot of confusion, you go through a lot of hurt, especially if you are in a relationship with someone who is still a Christian. It's very difficult. So some of you may know, if you've been following my channel for a while, that my husband, up until very recently, he did leave the International Church of Christ with me, but he was still a Christian. And I mean, it really got to a point in our marriage where I was just like, it's just a matter of time before we separate and then eventually sign the divorce papers, because there's no way on earth that we can possibly coexist together, because the fact that I don't share the same beliefs and same values as he does as a Christian, it's like, how can we make this work? He would have to come to terms with me. So for me, the first person I told that I was no longer a Christian was my husband, and that took me a long while. That took me, not even that I told him that I wasn't a Christian, I told him I didn't believe. That was so hard for me to do. I think I actually have a video on here where I do speak about when I first told him, because I was doing YouTube during the time, and that was so freaking hard for me. So just like leaving the ICOC, acceptance is a really big thing. Acceptance is key, and that can take a while. And so for me, the first step was accepting the fact that I don't want the label Christian anymore. And when I first said I don't label myself Christian anymore, because my best friend had asked me once, like, okay, are you still a Christian? I said no. That was as far as I could go with that conversation at the time. I just needed to be clear that I don't carry the label, because holding onto that label and not living up to it, it was so much easier for me to just really be honest and to say, Tina, you know you are not a Christian because you don't live your life according to the Christian ways and values, because this does not align with who you are right now, with how you feel, with where you are in your life right now. So I had to accept that. I'm sorry, if you see me keep looking down, I'm looking down at my notes because I had to make notes on this. Taking time to heal. So that was another thing. I had to really take time to heal. I had to allow myself time to heal, and the healing process could be a long one. For some people, it could take a year. Some people could take 2-3 years. For me, having an outlet was a big thing. YouTube, where I can express myself, is what really sped up my healing, my recovery process. And so if you have some sort of outlet, it will definitely make it a lot easier for you to be able to get through and to be able to accept that you are no longer a Christian. Being okay with not being okay is a really big thing. You have to learn to just be okay with being uncomfortable, and you have to learn to be okay with the fact that you're not perfect. So I would just say this affirmation to myself instead of saying I'm not worthy, I'm nothing without God, I'm a mess, I'm broken, I need to be fixed by God. I stopped looking at myself as someone who needed to be fixed, and I started looking at myself as someone who is perfectly imperfect. Yes, to a Christian, I may be a sinner. To me, I'm a good person, and I try my best, and I do what I can, and I want to live a good life, and I want to help others heal, and I want to be a light to anyone that I meet, and I am perfectly imperfect, and I constantly said those affirmations. So for me, affirmations became a really big thing. I never really was into affirmations before, and that's why my life was so negative. But when I did become more accustomed to reaffirming things to myself in order to help myself grow and to strengthen my own heart, it became so much easier. And I personally am someone who is very transparent, as a lot of you have seen on this channel. I am someone who does not like to lie about how I feel or where I stand. I stick to my guns. I don't try to act like I'm perfect, but if I truly don't believe or don't stand by something, I'd rather be honest and say I'm sorry, I can't stand by that because I don't believe in that, than to lie and say I do. And so I had to be okay with that, and I had to accept that about myself, because when I was a part of religion, I was taught to always suppress how I really felt and suppress who I really was. And so finally I'm out what I like to call the religious closet, and now I'm free to really be Tina, and that made it so much easier for me. So when you're able to accept your truest nature, your truest self, and accept your flaws and everything that you come with, and be able to say this is who I am, then from there you can start working on healing, and you can start working on just a lot of things. So I really don't want to get too much into this, because this is more along the lines of the stages of leaving Christianity, but I say all those things because that leads up to how you're able to tell people you're no longer a Christian. So before you're able to tell people you're no longer a Christian, you do have to begin your healing. You don't have to be done with healing, but you have to begin your healing, and you need to be able to accept that you are flawed, and that's okay, because we are all flawed. And you need to accept the fact that you know you're perfectly imperfect, and love yourself that way. And so with that is loving yourself outside of religion. It may be easy to love yourself or to love anyone else who's a part of religion, but how do you love yourself when you're not a part of religion? Because when you are a part of Christianity, you're often taught that you have to speak out loud. I'm unworthy, I'm nothing without you. These are horrible affirmations that I said constantly, and I believed them 1,000,000%, and I had to be my own mentor and get myself out of it. So embracing your truest nature and your truest self then leads to confidence and boldness, and that's where you will finally be able to tell people, I'm not a Christian anymore. And yes, people are going to question you. People are going to ask you, well, what do you believe in? You do believe in God, right? As long as you believe in God, you got to believe in God. You must believe in God. You cannot be an atheist. So for me personally, I am not an atheist, but I did get to the point of agnosticism. I became a lot more confident, and I was able to get to the steps where I could admit and say, no, I don't believe anymore. So it was scary. I'm not saying it's not going to be scary. It's going to be scary. But the more you build yourself up and work on your own true self and love yourself harder, as I always say in my videos, you really got to love yourself harder when you leave a cult, and especially when you leave religion, because if you don't, someone's going to easily be able to break you. There are many people out there who feel that we need to follow their beliefs and we need to follow their views. If you look through all of my comment sections, you'll see people constantly write off what chapters of the Bible I need to follow, and we must do this and that, and God specifically put this in the word because this is what God specifically tells us that we need to do. And none of those, it's like, for me, by now at this point in my life, it goes through one year and comes out the other, because to me, it's like it doesn't relate for me and I'm not subscribed to it. Therefore, that just goes to show you how confident I've become in the fact that I know who I am, I know where I stand, and I'm not here to want anyone to validate me. I'm not here to have anyone approve and put a stamp on me like, yes, you're approved, you're good enough for us. I'm good enough for me. So you really have to get to that point in your life where you can accept yourself and love yourself hard enough to be able to say goodbye to those who don't want you in their life anymore because they feel like maybe you're not a good influence, or maybe you're toxic to their spiritual walk and their spirituality because you no longer share their beliefs. To be honest with you guys, I remember telling my husband, it is so much easier for me to tell you the truth and to be honest than it is, and straightforward, than it is for me to sit here and lie just to keep you happy. You're my husband, I love you to death, but if lying and telling you what you want to hear is what's going to keep you wanting to be with me, then I'm only lying to myself. And I lied to myself when I was a Christian many times, and I lied to myself when I was in the ICOC throughout the entire time, and I'm no longer going to lie to myself, and I cannot lie to you. So you need to be able to get to that point. But when, like I said before, when you're going through this healing and this acceptance and loving of yourself, you will eventually get to that point where you are able to say, I would rather be honest and straightforward, even though you may not like it, whether you're my partner, you're my spouse, you're my best friend, you're my family. I'd rather do that than to sit here and lie to you and hurt myself further just to make you happy, or just to make you feel like I am good enough to be in your presence, or like I am good enough to be with you. I'm good enough to even be in your company, be your friends, whatever it is. So if you put that in your head and you say, you know what, it's so much easier, not just I'd rather be honest, but it's so much easier to just come out and say, no, I'm not a Christian, no, I don't believe in God, or I don't know where I stand with this. I'm doing my research, I'm learning on my own, I want to learn on my own, no, I don't want to be preached to, no, I don't want to go to your Sunday service, no, I don't want to be prayed with. Once you're able to just kind of just bluntly say that, even though it may feel like you're being a little bit rude, but you're not. You're just telling the person that this is where I stand, and I would like for you to respect that the same way I respect where you stand right now in your beliefs. It's so much easier. It's so much easier to do that than to lie to people, to be honest. And that's what gets me through everything. And not just with that, but every area of my life. It's just so much easier to be transparent. That's why I've become such a transparent person. And to be honest, I wasn't like this before. It wasn't until after I left the ICOC. But this is something that I built up to. Because once you can accept yourself, it's so much easier for you to tell someone that you're not a part of a specific faith. They need to just accept it or not accept it. It's up to them, but you cannot accept responsibility for how they feel about that. And you need to be okay with ruffling up some feathers. You need to be okay with making someone else uncomfortable. These are just steps. It takes steps to get here. You don't just leave Christianity and say, I'm not a Christian. Some people can do that, but everyone is different. I don't have an explanation as to why one person is able to just come out and say, I'm an unbeliever, and the next person is hiding it or has a lot of resistance. It really depends on the individual, depends on the personality, it depends on how long they've been a Christian. I noticed, based off of conversations I've had with other people on this channel, that those who are able to just come out freely and say, I'm not a believer anymore, are typically those who have not been a Christian for very long. But then those who, like me, grew up in the faith and was taught it their whole life are those who have a much harder time and have built a lot of resistance around it. So once you're able to like slowly break down that wall of resistance, it honestly becomes a lot easier for you to be able to tell someone that you're no longer a believer. Now, you're gonna get a lot of backlash. You are going to get some people that are going to feel like you've taken sides with Satan, or you've lost your way, you're lost, you're a sinner, you need to be prayed for. We're still praying for you, we're praying you come back. It's okay, it's okay. Just let people pray for you, let people think what they want to think. Right now, you don't need to focus on what other people think about you. You don't need to focus on what other people say about you. All you need to focus on is you. You need to focus on building yourself. You need to focus on loving yourself. You need to focus on healing yourself. And if you put any, not even 1 ounce of attention on others, I'm talking about 1% of attention on what other people think of you, whether it's a person that you're in a relationship with, or your friends, or your family. If you do that, then you are taking off the focus from you. Right now, your healing is very critical, and you're in a very fragile state, more than likely. So because of that, 1,000,000% of attention needs to go on you. Okay, it's all about you. So what? Let it be all about you. Heal yourself, love yourself, grow yourself, try to become a better person, learn how to be a better person. Learn how to be a more loving person towards other people. I've said this before. Honestly, since I left religion, I've become so much more open and loving towards other people of all faiths and all groups, and not so judgmental and critical. And you really need to get to that point. And when you're able to get to that point, you can pretty much stand up to anyone and stick to your guns and say, no, I am not a part of Christianity anymore. I'm very happy, I'm very at peace, and I like it like this, and this is who I am, and I'm happy with who I am, and I'm sorry if you can't accept that, but that is not my problem. That's not my responsibility. So how do you specifically come out and tell someone? Well, first of all, don't feel like you owe anyone an explanation. Whether you've left a church or you've left religion, you don't owe anyone anything. You decide for you. Now it's time for you to decide if you even want to explain, or if you want to tell anyone anything at all. I had to wait until I was ready. I had to wait until I was fully ready to say, I'm not a Christian, and I don't read the Bible, and I'm not sure if I even believe in Jesus. I had to come to that point for myself. I had to decide when I was going to come out and say it, and when I was ready, that is when I did. Did it come with backlash? Hell yeah. Did it come with tons of issues? Did I have my moments where I cried? I was depressed. I felt like my relationship wasn't gonna last. Hell freaking yeah. But I made a commitment to myself. I had to help myself. I had to tell myself that I would help myself heal through this. And honestly, journaling, huge help. Huge help. Maybe one day I could read you guys like some of my journaling entries on during my healing process of leaving religion. Not leaving the ICOC, but leaving religion. That helped me so much. And in my journal, I actually wrote like, what do you call it, like a promise to myself that I was going to be honest and open from here on out in every aspect of my life, not just when it comes to religion. And I promised myself that I was going to work on healing myself, and that I was going to no longer accept anyone's negativity about me. I was gonna respect that they don't like me, but I'm not gonna accept that they feel like I need to be someone I'm not. So that is my best advice for you guys. Anything I tell you guys, I've done for myself. I love you all so much. If you have any more questions, please feel free in the comment section, let me know, and I'll make a video on it.